let me teach you some tips and tricks to level up your nail art game while I make some press-ons. So the first thing to level up your nail art game is tools. You need to have good tools. If you're just starting out, obviously you don't need to invest in super crazy tools, but these are for the girlies or the guys that want to really level up their nail art game. You need to invest in good tools. So I'm showing an unboxing of this brand new nail brush set that I got from MPF Nails, which is actually a brand that's based in Europe, I believe. They used to start out making dental equipment, but then they also decided that they would make nail art equipment because it's kind of similar in terms of, the precision and technique. And so I just got their brand new thick liner set, which just dropped. Their original liner set comes with a thin liner brush, which I'm going to show the comparison right now. So the bottom one is their original thin liner set and the top is the brand new one. And here is a comparison of all 4 or 5 thick liner brushes with one of the thin liner ones. I also picked up another brush stand so that the brush heads have a place to sit so that they're not loose and rolling around and the bristles don't get ruined or frayed. And that's how you kind of just plop them right on in. The handle has a magnet side as well as a spatula tool. So these brushes are modular and you attach the brush head with that magnetic component. Now when I was applying the new brush heads, they were not going in. As you can see, I'm really pushing it in there and it shouldn't be that hard. It's a magnet. So I did reach out to MPF and they went ahead and sent me a new set. They have great customer service. Nails by Dev is also another great brand with great customer service. These are her liner brushes. I'm showing the 9 and the 15 millimeter. And if you're a beginner, I'd recommend actually going with this set. Now under products or tools are liner gels. I've used everything under the sun for nail art, from OG nail polish to acrylic paint to gel polish and now liner gels. And liner gels are truly the best. These ones are from Nails by Dev. So gel paints have a thicker viscosity and they're also opaque, which makes them great for fine line work. As you can see on this buzz that I drew the eyebrows with that exact gel paint and it's opaque in one go. So I don't have to go over it multiple times and it will ruin the line that I did. Same with this checkerboard pattern here. I still do use gel polish, but if I want fine line, then gel paint / liner gels are the way to go. The next trick is the way that you load your brush is so important. If you're just slathering on the gel paint like this, then you're going to end up with a horrible blob on that brush. And now I'm going to show you when I make a line, it's going to be completely wonky. It's going to be thin at the top, thin at the bottom, but then in the center where that whole bulge was of product, we're going to get a ballooning of that line. So you want to go ahead and swirl your brush into that product. Really coat the bristles, go slowly, take your time. Just load the brush properly and it's going to save you a lot of grief and heartache in the end, because I know line work is something that can be really frustrating for a lot of people in the beginning. And as you can see, that's what it looks like when it's properly coated. Now, as you can see, when I'm drawing my line, since I properly evenly distributed the product through the bristles, I'm not getting any wonky ballooning or anything like that. I also used the 15 millimeter liner brush because I want the brush to do the work for me. If you have a longer brush, it's going to help you make these really straight lines. It's going to get rid of the shakiness and it really just does the work for you. If I'd used the 9 millimeter brush to make this line, I still could have done it, but there's more room for error. There's more room for shakiness because when the length of the bristles is almost as long as the length of the nail that you're working on, you just have to do less hand movement. There's less room for error, for shakiness. Another important thing is anchoring your hand and learning what is the best position for you to where you're most stable. I usually use my pinky a ton to anchor my hand that I am drawing with, which is my right hand. I even do it when I'm doing my own nails and I'm using my left hand to draw. I love my pinky to stabilize my hand so that I eliminate any shakiness. An important concept to level up your nail art game is to understand brush pressure. So I'm using the same exact 15 millimeter brush that I used to draw this thick line, and now I'm going to draw a very thin line. And you can tell the difference in how I'm using this brush compared to the last time. So this time I'm going to be using the very tip of the bristles to draw that thin line. To make that thick line, I used the body or the belly of the brush, and I really applied a lot of pressure so that the bristles, would spray out a little bit more, and it allows for more surface area to be covered. Now the next part of this design that I'm making is a leaf, essentially, and leaves are curved, so there's no straight lines going on here. And a 15 millimeter brush would be very hard to make curves with. So you want a shorter bristle brush. That's why I switched over to my 9 millimeter brush. This brings me to another important point, which is making sure that you know when to use which brush for what reason. Like I said, if you're going to use a brush for line work, like long lines, checkerboard patterns, things like that, you probably want to go ahead and use a longer liner brush, like a 15 millimeter. And for designs like this, what I'm doing right now, like this leaf pattern, or if I need to cover a good portion of surface area with some gel, I'm going to use a shorter, thicker bristle brush. I will mention my 9 millimeter is my most used brush because it is the most versatile. So the next part of this press-on design that I'm making are these oval shapes, and I love using my dotting tool to make, oblong or circular rounded shapes. So the same concept of pressure is also applied to dotting tools. If you want a larger dot, then you're going to apply more pressure, and if you want a smaller dot, you would apply less pressure. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw lines connecting these dots, and like I said, my 9 millimeter is my most versatile brush because I also use it to make lines. I don't really need a 15 millimeter brush for this type of line because it's a really short distance. I could definitely use it, but it's not really necessary since I'm not making a super long line, and in this short of a distance, the line won't be that shaky. Another important tip and trick is to look at the balance of the nail. Now, this nail that I'm doing is a pattern nail, and as you can see, there's no dot to this line that I'm connecting at the end, but because it's a pattern, I want to show continuity. So my last trick for you is top coat. Oh my God, top coat can make or break a nail, and it sucks if it breaks the nail at the very end. So this top coat right here is my Gin B Crazy Thick top coat, and I use it for encapsulating. If I have a lot of dips in my nail, or if I'm using glitters such as this, then I need something to really make the nail smooth, and this is what does that for me in one step. You also don't want to add a lot of bulk, so that top coat does both encapsulating and is a top coat. Now, the nail that we just did, I don't need any thick top coat because I don't have any lumps or bumps. So I'm going to go ahead and use this Luxa Polish one, and it's more thin, it's more runny, it won't add bulk or thickness to the nail. Because you really want to avoid thick nails as much as possible, of course, unless you're doing some sort of 3D work, that's kind of inevitable, but that's how you want to kind of pick and choose your top coat in terms of what design that you're doing. So I also like to float the top coat down the nail and apply a good amount so that I don't have any naked or bare spots on the nail, and I don't have to go in with a second coat. You also want to make sure that you cap the free edge. You do get a lot of wear and tear on the tips of your nails out and about doing everyday life, so definitely cap that free edge. Another important concept is using the line of light. So I'm using the light in my room to check if there are any lumps or bumps, or if I missed any area for top coat. And I also like to flip the nail upside down just so I can get the good apex and let gravity kind of do that work for me. And so again, before I pop it into the lamp, I'm going to go ahead and check if there are any spots missing. I don't know if you caught it, but right there is a spot that was missing. So I go ahead and I reapply my top coat just to fill in that missing area. So the pattern I just made is called a Keffiyeh. Sorry if I'm butchering that, but I wanted to just quickly explain the significance of it. So the leaves on the left-hand side are to represent olive leaves, the straight lines are trade routes, and then the fishnet pattern is a connection to the sea. So hopefully these tips and tricks were helpful, and I will catch you in the next video.